Hi, this is Josh Engelbrecht, VDC engineer from McCarthy Building Companies. I was recently part of a scan project for one of our parking structures in our NORPAC division. We encountered an issue in our workflow going from scene to recap to AutoCAD, exporting a point cloud when using state plane coordinates or large coordinate values. For this certain parking structure, we wanted to run multiple sets of analysis on the parking ramp. So what we did is we went ahead and scanned. We set up control and targets on every other column on each floor within the ramps. Notice how our targets are on our column lines on each floor. The issue arose when exporting our point cloud from scene into recap and recap into AutoCAD, into our site CAD files. As we import our point cloud into our CAD file, we're going to go ahead and clean up our point cloud so that we can see where our column lines are and they should match up with our CAD drawing. I'm going to zoom in, and we're going to notice that our column lines should be, for our point cloud, those column lines should be lining up with the columns to the left. So we're going to take our measuring tool, our dimension, we're going to go ahead and dimension this difference from the column lines. Now eyeballing it, we're going to get about 12 foot 6 inches in the X direction and about 3 foot 10 in the Y direction. Now, why is this error occurring? This simplified answer is the conversion factor when going from US survey feet to metric units. Metric units is measured by international feet or regular feet. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at our CAD file or our control file and notice that our control file coordinates are rather large and they're in state plane coordinates. Our X values are going to start in the 6 millions and our Y values are going to start in the 1.9 millions. When using this large of coordinate values, we have to take into account the conversion factor from foot, regular feet, international feet, to survey foot. So comparing our regular feet or international feet to our US survey feet conversion, we're going to go ahead and multiply our conversion factor times our first X value. Taking the difference of these two values, we're going to go ahead and show what impact this can have on your XY output, converting it from regular feet to US survey feet, and that comes out to about 12.3 feet over that 6 million feet. Doing the same with the Y, we're going to multiply that number again by the conversion factor, and then taking the difference, our difference from our regular feet to our US survey feet conversion, we're going to get about 3.9 feet over that 1.9 million feet. Now going back to our AutoCAD file, we can compare these numbers and see that they relate. So our X value is about 12 foot 6 compared to that 12.3, and our 3 foot 10 compared to that 3.9. This is where this error or skew in the data is occurring. For our standardized workflows, we have set our import length to US survey feet and our export length into meters. As we export point clouds, we have to export using metric for recap. Again, the error occurs when transferring from that US survey feet to metric because metric is measured in international feet or regular feet. Today I'm going to be touching on the solution when following the workflow from importing it to scene, exporting as metric into recap, and then recap into AutoCAD. That way our file aligns correctly with our site drawings. So we're going to go into scene, go up to tools, go down to options, and then over to units. And we're going to go down to our import length and click on feet. Now, knowing that we're going to be exporting a point cloud, we're going to keep our export length as meters. That way we can export into recap. Now please note, if you do not have to convert from international or US survey feet into metric, you can keep your import units as US survey feet and your export units as US survey feet as well. Now we are ready to reapply our control. So we're going to go into scene, delete our references, delete our scan manager, and delete all correspondence and transformation values, changing all transformation values back to 0 for our overall cluster. Going back to our Windows Explorer, we're going to drop back in our original control file, import on workspace level, and drop into our cluster and reapply our target-based registration. Note that you will not see any deviation between your original registration and your second registration based on your target values. Going back into 3D view, we're going to just run a quick quality control, and make sure that everything came into place correctly. Our original point cloud that we exported and imported into AutoCAD was our level 4. So we're going to go ahead and isolate that using our clipping box, make it nice and pretty. You know it's pointless because we're just going to export the cluster. And then we're going to right click on our cluster, export our file as a XYZ, again staying in metric, that way we can import into recap, and then putting into recap we'll go put our point cloud back into AutoCAD. Once our point cloud is finished converting from recap, we're going to go ahead and go back into our site drawing, pick our new recap file, and drop it into our drawing. Cleaning up our drawing so that we can see our clear column lines. And zooming in, we can see that our column lines now match up with our site column line CAD drawing. Now please note again that when not using recap, keep your import units to US survey feet and your export units to US survey feet. There will be no conversion needed. Thanks for watching.